We're going to read a story today called Two Men in the Temple. And it's a story about a tax collector and a Pharisee who go pray in the temple. And the tax collector, in this book, they call him a publican. And at first, he is he's doing wrong things. He's stealing money. But in the end, he ends up praying a very good prayer. And then there's the Pharisee who acts like he's very important, but he acts too important. So let's read that story, see what happens. One afternoon in Palestine, a tax collector locked his door. His greedy fingers soon untied his money bag. He looked inside and spilled the gold upon the floor. "And now, before I send the king his taxes," laughed the little man, "I'd better keep a few for me. Let's see, shall I keep 1, 2, 3? Why not keep all the gold I can?" And so this selfish publican kept half the taxes for himself. He stuffed a sack full to the brim, made sure no one was watching him, then hid it on a high, high shelf. That wasn't a very good choice. That afternoon in Palestine, another man went to his door. He opened it and left it wide so passers-by could look inside and see him kneeling on the floor. They heard this man, the Pharisee, call out loud to God in prayer. For many hours he prayed and praised, and all that heard were quite amazed. Such holy men are surely rare. He was praying for everyone to hear him. At dinner time, the Pharisee and all his family sat to eat. His wife had cooked a lovely meal of home-baked bread and tender veal, and several other kinds of meat. But all the Pharisee would do was pass the food and shake his head. "I only want to fast and pray. I'll not eat anything today except for water and for bread." Oh my. Now later on, the publican went out his door to walk a bit, when suddenly he heard a cry, "You are a thief! You cheat and lie! This time you won't get by with it!" An angry crowd began to push and pull the little man about. The tax collector shook with fear to see some men with sticks come near. He'd soon be dead without a doubt. They're not happy because he stole the money. But just that moment, soldiers came and quickly chased the crowd away. The publican was free at last. He turned and ran back home quite fast and didn't leave again all day. Meanwhile, the Pharisee walked by, pretending not to hear or see. While shouts and screams had filled the air, his head was bowed as if in prayer, but he was watching secretly. "Too bad," he grumbled to himself, "too bad the publican got free. Now I must hurry right along and get back home where I belong, for night is coming, I can see." Outside his door he met 3 men who begged for money by the way. "Come," the Pharisee called out, so all his neighbors heard his shout. "Here's something for you 3 today." He's making sure everyone knew that he helped someone. Again that night the Pharisee ate only water and some bread. "How very happy God must be to have a friend as good as me," he thought as he climbed into bed. Across the town the publican was also lying in his bed. He tossed and turned the whole night long. He knew the people had been right, and guilty thoughts buzzed through his head. "I am a cheat. I am a thief. The things they said are true, I know. How very sorry now I feel that I began to lie and steal. What can I do? Where shall I go?" He feels sorry for the things he did, huh? Next day, the sorry publican went to the temple in despair. He tiptoed quietly inside, stepped back behind a post to hide. Then all alone, he bowed in prayer. Just then the Pharisee came in. He saw the publican and growled. How dare he show his evil face inside God's holy temple place? He really shouldn't be allowed. The Pharisee moved far away, stood straight and tall, and felt quite proud. How better off the world would be if all the people were like me, he thought as he prayed out loud. Oh, Lord, I thank you that I'm not like other wicked, sinful men. I fast while others eat their fill. I give gifts to the poor and ill. You know how very good I've been. I thank you that I'm not like him, that lying, cheating publican. Does that sound like a very nice prayer? I don't think so. Meanwhile, the publican still prayed. He beat his chest. He looked dismayed, so sorry for the things he'd done. His eyes looked down upon the ground. He was ashamed to lift his head. I am a sinful, sinful man. Have mercy on me, if you can. Forgive me, Lord, he sadly said. I think God probably forgave him. Then suddenly the publican became as happy as could be. Oh, thank you, Lord, he cried. I feel so very good inside. Oh, thank you for forgiving me. The publican went out the door, and down the street he gaily ran. He quickly got his money sack and gave the stolen gold all back. Then he went home, a happy man.